Hello crafty friends, I'm Lien from Studio Kato and I am so happy to be back on the Syberia Designs YouTube channel today with this fun subtle rainbow card. I'm going to do some hot foiling, I'm going to show you a fun die cut technique, and I am going to start with this Tiny Flowers cover die from Syberia Designs. It's a really fun, intricate cover die that is perfect for a subtle white on white background, but I wanted to give it a little bit more. Now I cut a bunch of strips of colored cardstock and I'm going to adhere them to the back of my panel. Now, as you can see, I went for a very saturated rainbow. Usually I like to use some very light colors, some pastel colors, and some darker colors or shades, just because I like the variation in that. I like to use a couple of different tones of cardstock just to make sure I have a little bit of everything, and I like the contrast that provides. However, because the holes in this cover die are so tiny, you want to go for a little bit darker colors than you usually would, or a little bit more saturated and bright colors than you usually would. Because with all the white surrounding the very little color that there is, it is going to appear a lot lighter than it actually is. I hope I'm explaining that right, because you have so much white surrounding a very small area of the color is going to appear lighter, so you want to go for a darker color than you actually want to end up with. So I have a very saturated rainbow here on the back of my card, and it is going to appear a lot lighter on the front, as you can see here. It's going to provide a very subtle rainbow look, and I really love how this ended up looking. I wasn't sure when I was adding those strips of cardstock on it if it would work out the way I intended, and I am very happy it did. Now, this is also a very quick background to make, so I really like this card because it was so quick. Now, as a focal point here, I am just going to use this large thanks hot foil plate. I am going to foil this with the Spellbinders Glimmer hot foil in the Prism shade, which is that beautiful holographic silver. They also have a holographic gold, which would be beautiful on here as well, and maybe a bit more noticeable. I do want to say that I find this look a little bit too subtle. It doesn't stand out very well on the white cardstock. So I will actually also link to the gold hot foil, the gold holographic hot foil that I mentioned, because I think it would be a better fit on this card. And if I were to make this card again, I would probably use that gold one. Now, when I'm hot foiling, I like to tape everything in place very well. I just don't want anything shifting around on my hot foil machine while I put it through my die cutting machine. So I adhere everything down and then I turn it all upside down so that hot foil plate is touching my Glimmer machine. And then once that's gone through my die cutting machine, just follow your Glimmer machine instructions. I can do that very satisfying peel away of the foil. Now, this did overfoil a little bit. It just happens sometimes, but all you need is that Tombow mono sand eraser, and that is going to take care of that hot foil. Now, this is only if you have a little bit too much pressure in your die cutting machine. If you don't have too much pressure in there, you can get rid of overfoiling most of the time with just a regular eraser or even just rubbing your finger over it. It's very easy to correct any overfoiling, so you usually don't worry about it too much. Now here you can definitely start to see that this silver holographic hot foil is very subtle on the white cardstock, and it is going to appear even more subtle once it's die cut out. Now, to cut this out, I'm going to use the large thanks die set. This comes with a shadow layer and a scripty layer that is just the same as the hot foiled sentiment. So you can use that shadow layer to die cut it out. Now, when we first produced when Syberia Designs first produced this die set, they had the shadow layer be completely closed, so you can't see through it. Now, this has since been fixed, so you don't have to use the hack I am using here. But if you still have the old die set, I recommend die cutting it once out of just some plain old scrap cardstock or just some white cardstock. And then you center that die cut piece over your hot foil. So you can see that it's centered, and then you pop the die right in place. That is going to make sure you can perfectly die cut this hot foiled things without being able to see through the die cut. Now, as I mentioned, this is just the old dies. Those have all been sold out now, and they have new ones in stock. So if you're just buying this now, you are going to get a die cut that you can absolutely see through. So you don't have to worry about this. But if you still have the old die, you can absolutely still use it with your hot foil. You just have to do that one little extra step. Now I die cut that a couple more times. I die cut that shadow layer, I think 3 times out of plain white cardstock. I stack those all together with liquid adhesive. And then on the top of that, I'm going to glue, obviously, my hot foiled sentiment. And as I mentioned a couple times now, this is a very subtle look. I would go for the gold, the gold hot foil next time. Now, I did want a little bit of a border, a white margin all the way around my card, so I am going to trim my rainbow panel down a little bit. I trimmed away, I don't know how much I trimmed away, but I did this in stages. I usually do it in stages. So I tried to cut down a little bit, and then that wasn't enough, and I cut down a little bit more. I just hold it over my card. I try to figure out how I like the look, and I stop when I think it's cut down enough. Better do it in stages than to cut it down too much all at once. To adhere this down, I am actually going to prop this up on a piece of cardboard. I like to recycle my cardboard from all my crafty packages that way. I cut down my cardboard boxes for that, and I just used liquid adhesive to adhere that down. This is very sturdy dimension. It is sturdier than foam, but you can use craft foam to prop that entire panel up as well if you have that in your stash. I'm going to adhere that thanks die cut hot foiled sentiment right on top, right in the center, also with some liquid adhesive. And then I am going to embellish this card, and I'm going to add a lot of embellishments, and my camera actually got bored of me. So it cut right off, right at the beginning even. So I can't show you a lot of this, but I adhered really tiny holographic gems in the center of each flower. Now this looks like it would take a long time, but it really, really doesn't. I'm just trying out the look here, and my camera cut out before I could even glue anything down. But you just add some glue dots in the center of each flower, and then you add some tiny, tiny holographic embellishments on top of that with your embellishment wand. And it's really, really easy, and it definitely makes this card pop and sparkle a lot more than it did. I really love those tiny embellishments in there. I hope you like this card. It's a really fun way to use this cover die. Just put some colored cardstock behind it. You can do a solid colored cardstock background. That would be really fun too. But I love the rainbow look here. I hope you like it too. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to read them. And make sure you subscribe to this channel and to my own channel that should be linked on the video right now to see more of my videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.